Yes, the big event of the afternoon is just about to get underway, the Irish Opel Lotus Championship, which is a new formula in Irish motorsport, but one that in its first year has proved to be exceedingly successful. Conditions perfect for the 20-lap race, and I've been joined by Dan Partel, who's the Managing Director of the European Formula Drivers Association, who are behind all of this. It's been on the go now, what, 12 years, this formula. How important was it to you to get it into Ireland?
Well, George, actually we started this race here after did 12 years ago, but the Opel Lotus formula was started in 1988 and on the continent of Europe, but this is the first season for Opel Lotus in Ireland, and we're extremely pleased with the results so far. In only the fourth race, there's 13, 14 cars out here, and that's a really good start.
And it's also something well worth the winning. You got the piece of crystal there that's going to be the big prize.
Yeah, it's a beautiful trophy that's presented from Tipperary crystal, and I travel around. We have 65 race meetings, but this is one of the most beautiful trophies that I've seen so far.
I'm glad we were able to impress you. Tell us, what's so special about this formula? It's what, 2-litre cars?
These are 2-liter 16-valve engines. They're all Opel engines. They're all tuned in the factory in Kaiserslautern, and this engine is used in the Cadets, the Vectras and the Calibras, which is the pace car out here today.
And what it basically means is that it's all down to driver's skill because they're effectively driving identical machines.
Yes, exactly. This is one make chassis, one make tire, and one make engine, and this is really designed by us as a driver's formula. We had great help from Opel, and the engines are plus or minus 1 horsepower. We don't use them, and it's really down to the driver.
Okay, Dan, well, I would expect that you're going to enjoy what's to come now. Take care of that piece of crystal. Right now, we're going to meet a couple of the main contenders in this. We've got Rory O'Quilloin and we've got Morgan Dempsey. Now, Morgan has the advantage in this occasion of being the driver in pole position. Morgan, you've already achieved something very proud, that you got yourself in pole position for this race.
Yeah, I'm very happy with that. The qualifying session this morning was very close. Rory isn't too far behind me, and I think the first 5 or 6 cars are all within half a second of each other, so it should be a very good race.
The fact that you've ended up on pole, is that to assume that there were no problems for you this morning?
No, the car ran very smoothly. We done our quickest lap very early on the session, and we changed something and we went a little bit backwards, but we were still lucky to hold on to the pole.
Now, Rory, you are right beside him. There's not very much in it, but the pair of you have got the hot shot, Vivian Daly, behind you, 5th position.
Yes, well, I'd sooner have Vivian behind me than in front of me, or even alongside me, because he's a very good driver. But as Morgan says, there's nothing separating the first 6 guys on the grid, and it's going to be a very close race.
He theoretically has the advantage, but how will you be attacking him going into that first bend?
Well, I hope he'll be attacking me, and I just will, and I hope Morgan will also be attacking me. But it's whoever gets the start into the first corner has a great advantage for the duration of the race, because it's very difficult to pass here in Mondello, but it can be done, and I think we'll see some very good racing this afternoon.
Well, as an extra, maybe still Navan O'Mahony's man, is this going to be the first Meath victory of the afternoon for you, or is Morgan going to hold on, or is it going to be Vivian?
Well, definitely a current Navan O'Mahony's man, and always a Meath man. I definitely think it'll be the first Meath victory of the weekend. And luckily enough, Westmeath don't have any other teams going apart from their hurlers, maybe, so I think it'll be the first of the weekend.
So that's a cue for Morgan from Mullingar in County Westmeath. You look pretty confident, are you?
You can never be confident in this game. Rory's very quick off the line. I think we're quick off the line, so the first corner, I think, will determine a lot.
Good luck to you both. Thank you.
And what a fascinating sight it is to see these 2 young Irish drivers on the front row of the grid. It's the 4th round of this new championship. As we've already said, they're on their warm-up lap, and there's the positions in the championship. Vivian Daly, who's surprisingly down 5th fastest on the grid, leads the championship, but he's had a little distributor problem. Sadly, the man in 2nd place in the championship is standing behind me in the commentary box here, Alan McGarty, who blew up the engine, and a very disconsolate man he is indeed. Morgan Dempsey stands to improve his positions if he can keep the cool in that green car there. You can see just circulating at the moment. Sam Thompson will come on to the 2nd row of the grid, and this is the biggest field in the Irish Championship that we have seen yet. So there we are, and they're weaving to warm up the tyres. These 170 brake horsepower cars, really a huge success story throughout Europe. Ireland has now joined the ranks of the other nations in having an National Championship. And there we see the grid rolling through. Noel Roddy, a newcomer to the grid, having taken over Joey Greenan's car, and I'm delighted to see Joey in the crowd watching him today after his very serious accident recently, would you believe it, off a push bike.
Yes, unfortunately, Joey on holidays in the Ireland Islands did a head over heels over the handlebars and broke a rib, so very sportingly, well, not sporty, he's hired the car to Noel. Noel, who made a name for himself at the Dundalk Street races by winning that race, but Noel doing very well indeed, ahead of Vivian Daly. Number 2 there in 5th place on the grid, as Alan said, a problem with a distributor, and his teammate, number 22, Dennis Sheen, beside him in the 2FM cars. Next row of the grid, we have PJ Fallon at a time of 54.88. That's our second place man. That's O'Cullen. Hands in the air from the grid marshals. The 5-second board. We're waiting for the red light. O'Cullen in the blue car is the quickest man I've seen start, and he's done it again. He anticipated that light beautifully, just dived out there, and coming down from the outside there, number 56 trying to push his way in, and Dempsey is back in 3rd place at the moment, and Dennis Sheen gets pumped there by young Paul Monaghan, and someone's lost a nose cone. The nose gone from number 5, but what a start from Rudy O'Cullen, Alan.
Fabulous start, and what a pressure into 2nd place. I think it's Noel Roddy at the moment. We'll just check that in a minute. There's 41, the newcomer into this grid. That's Derek M. Daly, but it's O'Cullen out front. Noel Roddy, I think, in 2nd place. And then 3rd, Morgan Dempsey. Now, that's a bad start from the youngster from Mullingar, but O'Cullen, if he can keep the head, I reckon he's one of the quickest men. The man who's lost the nose cone is Sam Thompson, and that's going to be absolutely hopeless for him. He's going to have no downforce, no front wing, and he really can't be competitive in that situation.
Yes, young Sam Thompson there, 28 years of age from Dromore in the wars, just lost that nose cone, but young Morgan Dempsey at the moment putting Noel Roddy under pressure. He needs points in the championship. Morgan, he's in 3rd place at the moment, but the start from O'Cullen, he is known for these starts. At the Phoenix Park he made a demon start, but unfortunately didn't turn right at the first corner. But the battle at the moment there between 41 and the noseless Sam Thompson, he is number 5. You can see him there losing out on the tight corners because he needs those 2 wings on the front to keep the downforce on the front of the car, especially through the long left-hander there. He will be having problems with it understeering away. And you can see the high-speed train in the background with Noel Roddy holding 2nd place and young Morgan Dempsey still pushing for that 3rd place. It's a 20-lap race and there's a long way to go.
PJ Fallon is very well up in 4th place. We have him at the moment, but O'Cullen it is. And this young man who has had quite a layoff in racing, there's PJ under pressure now from Vivian Daly. PJ in 4th place. Vivian Daly desperately needing to make up points. You can just see him at the back here in the very distinctive helmet with the yellow arrow on it. There he is, the Abracadabra car, and he leads the championship at the moment, and he'll be a very frustrated man indeed back there. So the Penny's car of PJ Fallon leading him at the moment. Up front, it's the same situation. We're watching this battle with PJ, who you must remember is pretty well a novice to these cars. He has driven them once before, but indeed so is Noel Roddy, and what a position he is there in 2nd place.
Yes, and holding a very, very good 2nd place indeed. And all the time this battle's going on, O'Cullen just inching away, as we heard from Dan Partel. All the engines absolutely equal. It's down to driver, and the guy who takes the biggest chances gets away, and O'Cullen's demon start there has got him into this lead. And you heard him when he's been interviewed that the advantage here at Mondello, when it's such a tight circuit, is to be out there in the lead. There you go through. That's Roddy going through there, and that's PJ under pressure now from Vivian Daly, who started a row ahead of him on the grid, but when his teammate Dennis Sheen spun, I think Vivian was blocked in, so PJ got the jump on him. So moving from the 4th row of the grid up there ahead.
Daly's problem, his front nose cone, one of his front wings is all askew, and that's going to really upset the handling of that car, so that's going to make him pretty well uncompetitive, I would imagine, but he's certainly not given up trying.
So the right hand wing just there really flattened down. He's tucked in so close behind PJ at the moment. I don't know whether it'll make all that much difference, but he's going to have a look at the inside. He's in very late under braking. Beautiful maneuver, slides a little bit wide. PJ having a look at the other side, but no, just couldn't do it. But a nice out-braking maneuver down the inside into Arcel. And let's see if Vivian can do anything about this. You can see the wing there. Well flattened 2FM radio car there. The other one, you can see there, he's getting the tail out, so he's not getting the grip he needs.
Now, in theory, he should not be able to pull in on Dempsey, but he seems to be able to do it at the moment, and this is really quite extraordinary. Of course, he is getting probably uneven downforce in the front of that car. Let's not forget the leader, the Coulon, who's keeping it all cool at the moment, and a fabulous drive from this Dundalk man. Noel Roddy starred here last year. He was the best Irish driver in Opel Lotus last year, but then of course he had a very major accident which completely spoiled his day, but he's keeping it very cool, very well together. And remember, this man hasn't raced this year, so it really is a quite extraordinary performance by him at the moment. Morgan Dempsey being dropped at the moment, and Vivian Daly not seeming to be worried too much by that wing situation.
Coulon there just getting it up on the carbs, and actually Roddy closing in really well that time as they turned out of Budweiser, but very quick on the exit. Rory coming down into the S's now, and these two nicely spaced. Third place man about the same distance at the moment. Morgan Dempsey Jr. just sitting there, but the danger man, as Alan said, seems to be Vivian Daly. There he is in the background, and he is making up ground indeed. And under braking you can see Dempsey really working at the wheel of that car. But there's the first three, and this is the danger man, and danger man he is pulling in Dempsey at the moment, a couple of car lengths at a time. Second place man, there's Vivian in the 2FM car. You can see that wing rightly flattened. It's not too bad in the sense that there's still a gap to let the air underneath. If it was scraping the ground, he'd be in a lot more trouble.
And about halfway around the 7th lap of this 20-lap race, and this is an extraordinary performance indeed by Vivian Daly there, the championship leader, and it doesn't seem to be worrying him that much, that wing. Coulon still leads. So, just to recap, it's a Coulon, Noel Roddy in 2nd place. Then in 3rd place we have Morgan Dempsey Jr. In 4th place, the championship leader, Vivian Daly. Then in 5th place we have the man who's just hired the drive for the weekend, PJ Fallon.
Yes, and this battle really going. You can see just how close Vivian Daly is on the tail end. But look at Noel Roddy now beginning to make a move. Most of these drivers will be thinking, well, we're into 7 laps. There's a long way to go. They can't relax. They've just got to hold that position. But the two men on a spurt at the moment seems to be Roddy and Daly. And Roddy at the moment closing in on the leader. Closing in, Daly still holding a wide line there, getting the tail out again. But look at Roddy in the red and white car beginning to get onto the gearbox of RUAIRI Coulon. Now he would like to get Coulon between himself and the battling pair behind, and it would be nice to win this one in his hard drive. As Alan said, he hasn't driven the Opel Lotuses this year, but this is Joey Greenan's car. So a tremendous drive. In fact, they're all closing up at the moment. Dempsey obviously beginning to put on a spurt to get away from Vivian Daly, and these four now beginning to pull away.
8 laps completed, and it couldn't be closer. The Newgate car just still leads. Then Morgan Dempsey Jr. with the sponsorship of DJ Opel this weekend and Photocopiers International, having a tremendous job of withholding the Abacababra car of Vivian Daly there, who looks to be challenging now for 3rd place. And Daly, we keep repeating it, but that front wing, and you can see the problem there, and the Coulon is gone. The Coulon is gone. Rory's in the lead. He must have missed a gear there, or is it worse?
Roddy just coming out of the hill, just nipped through. He may have been a misgear. We'll see, can he tag on to the back of Vivian Daly, but all three got by him. So now it's Noel Roddy, that's Coulon. That was our leader, the 4th of these cars in the blue car. He may have had a gearbox problem. We'll see again at that particular point. It's a 2nd gear exit. Doesn't seem to be in trouble, possibly just a mistake. Hard on the concentration, but he's back on the tail. Vivian having a look around the outside, and you can see just how hard Rory O'Callaghan is trying, locking up that right-hand front wheel. But now this is the train, and the man under pressure up front is Noel Roddy. From his 3rd place on the grid, he is now leading this race. Morgan Dempsey Jr. with Vivian Dale O'Quillan having a look down the inside again, and obviously no problem this time, so it must have been a missed gear.
And what a mistake from first to fourth, just with one gear change. He now looks a little bit desperate. He's locking up his tyres on every occasion. That's not going to do them much good. We're not even at half distance yet. So Coulon desperate there to get back up into third place. Fast Vivian Daly's on the outside as they come up to Barham this time. Noel Roddy keeping it cool, but a bit sideways that time. Morgan Dempsey Jr. in second place. These two a little pulling away a little bit because the battle for third is absolutely intense. Half distance.
This is just what Morgan Dempsey Jr. wanted. He wanted somebody to put Vivian Daly under pressure so that he could get away and get after the leader. And this young man has a happy knack of staying out of trouble. At a recent Mondello race here, when Vivian Daly and Sam Thompson tangled, he was sitting at third place. He just nipped through on the inside, and now he's doing everything in his power to get away from Vivian, get on the back of the gearbox of the leader, Noel Roddy, and let Vivian try and dispense with Rory O'Quillan's attention at his gearbox. But O'Quillan, obviously a mistake in that lap, a pity, but it's made a race of it.
And let's not forget a superb performance there back in fifth place by PJ Fallon on his one-off Vauxhall drive. So really the championship regulars being humbled somewhat at the moment with a one-off man leading and a one-off man in fifth place. Down they come through the states, and this time, if anything, Noel Roddy pulled away a little bit. Oh, and the very sideways of Coulon's gone. And that's the end of that. Nose cone off, and once again, the Navan man leaves the stage in somewhat spectacular fashion.
Now, can Vivian Daly do anything about Morgan Dempsey in second place? Morgan will have seen that in his mirrors. Watch this, you'll see O'Quillan just come into picture now, just gets in too deep on the brakes, collects the back of Vivian Daly's car, loses his nose, and heads for the sand trap.
Well, now the person to really benefit from that manoeuvre was PJ Fallon, who's right back up there in fourth place and a little bit closer to Vivian Daly. And Vivian Daly's car must be getting a bit shook at this stage. It's had a bump in the front, it's had a bump in the back, but it's certainly not diminishing the doubling of speed. And he's such a competitive man. He's always there in the fight. They've now completed 12 laps of this 20-lap race. And it's Noel Roddy. And what a sensation if this man wins this race. We remember jumping up in joy when he raced in the streets of his own hometown of Dundalk. That was in a Formula 4 2000. He didn't finish that race due to an engine failure, and everybody will be keeping their fingers crossed for him right now, because we do remember that he was putting on a performance like this last year, and sadly he dropped it in a big way towards the end of the race.
Morgan Dempsey Jr. at the moment dropping back slightly. We'll have a quiet look as the cars go by us here, our commentary vision, to look at the back of Vivian Daly's car to see if there's anything wrong with the wing. It looks settled enough. Usually if any of the bolts have been damaged, they begin to vibrate badly, but no, it looks as if it's holding together. You can see that he's already pulled back that gap that was there. You can see the dust and dirt on the track there from that incident, but Daly now right on the back of Dempsey. And this is what Noel Roddy will want. He will want these two to be battling for second place, to give him a little breather up front, maybe to get a car length on him.
And Daly's performance, quite honestly, is confounding me at the moment, because that wing should be definitely negating against him. But he's doing a very clever trick here, because where it would really hurt him would be on the straight, where he would get too much downforce. It really would be a big disadvantage. At that time, he's always tucked in behind the slipstream of another car, so it's not affecting him too badly. But this race is far from over, and Daly's effort is far from over, as he comes once again to attack the young Mullingar man.
And if we look in the background, while this battle is going on, PJ Fallon is beginning to make ground on the back of Vivian Daly. Vivian able to take that wide line there, while young Morgan is protecting the inside line to stop what we saw Vivian doing earlier on when he just dived down the inside. But these three and the fourth place man, PJ Fallon, these four I should say, now pulling away from the rest of the field. And as Alan said, the two hard drives, first and fourth, sandwiching the regular champion contenders of Morgan Dempsey Jr., who's lying third in the championship at the moment. And Vivian Daly, the overall championship leader. A little bit of news on Vivian is that he's past champion. He's a triple Irish Formula 4 champion, 84, 86 and 88. 3 times winner of the Phoenix Park, so you can see all that experience, and he has his age down as over 21. And the young man in front of him is definitely under 21. The 18-year-old just out of school from Mullingar, Morgan Dempsey Jr., who is now defending his second position while Noel Roddy just inches away in the lead.
Looking a little bit further down the field from these first 4, which we're obviously concentrating on, we noticed that another hard drive person, there again Daly, is in 5th place, and indeed Sam Thompson, despite the fact of no nose cone, is in 6th place.
Yes, and there's our leader, and look at Daly now. Daly having a look at the outside, the inside. He will do everything trying to unnerve this young man in front of him, but the experience this young lad has got, he drove from Formula Ford in a very ancient car in his first year, straight out of school, and then he got himself a new Formula Ford and won the Phoenix Park last year by keeping himself out of trouble, and this year got himself into the new Irish Opel Lotus Championship, and it is a success story. 14 cars starting today, including some of the hard drives, but only with 3 rounds of the championship gone, there's only a couple of points between them, and the man leading that championship at the moment is Vivian Daly in 3rd place in this race with 42 points. Alan McGarrity, unfortunately, as Alan said, out of it with a blown engine, is in 2nd place. So Dempsey in 3rd place with 34 points wants to stay exactly where he is, because this championship a very lucrative one indeed and very prestigious to win. It'd be nice to see him do it, but he's got to get away from Vivian and get after Noel Roddy.
Right, so with less than 4 laps, just about 3 laps and a little bit to go, and we're building up into a grand finale here. Noel Roddy still leads with about, what, half a second over the 2nd place man. Morgan Dempsey Jr. under extreme pressure, and once again Vivian Daly takes a very late line. There may be purpose in that, maybe to do with the front aerodynamics of the car. PJ Fallon getting a superb view of all this, and a creditable drive indeed for him in 4th place. Less than 3 laps to go now, and something has got to give in this, surely. The golden pages of sponsorship also on PJ Fallon's car there, as he shadows the 3 leaders, and Roddy has made a break.
Yes, Noel making ground away from this battle, and PJ will be sitting there, want to stay in contention, but watch the antics of the 2 in front. He had a bird's eye view of Rory O'Cullen's little incident into the back of Vivian, so he will sit there. He will know that Vivian may make a last dash on the 2nd or last lap, and if he leaves the door open, 2 laps to go, they are starting their 2nd last lap, and it is still Noel Roddy, the Dundalk man, sitting out there, and PJ now beginning to make his move, closing in on Vivian. If Vivian is going to make a move, it has got to be in these next 2 laps.
Well, now one put yourself into the experienced head of Vivian Daly. He must be really quite pleased to be where he is at the moment because of all the problems in the car. He would still probably lead the championship if he stays in 3rd position. Is it going to be worth really to make a do-or-die effort for 2nd place at this stage? The television cameras are on, the sponsorship is at stake. There's big pressure, but really the sensible thing might be just to stay there in 3rd position. Let's hope not. Let's hope we get a real dive at the end of this one. But Noel Roddy now coming up to lap. That's Dennis Sheehan, who lost a nose cone like many this afternoon. On to his last lap goes Noel Roddy, heading for glory in Opel Lotus for the first time here in Ireland. And Dennis Sheehan not seeing him there, that's rather held up the leader a little bit, but possibly holding up the next 2 a little bit more as they come streaming through, and Sheehan certainly won't want to hold up his teammate Daly, who is going to have a go for 2nd.
Yes, Morgan Dempsey got the better of that manoeuvre there. Dennis on the outside line, but when you're travelling that quick, you need to use all the roads. So Noel slightly balked, I don't think intentionally, but he's looking to keep ahead. Again, Dempsey under that pressure from Vivian, and Vivian's having a look at the inside, but just that little bit too late. Did make his move there. Dempsey coming up the centre of the road to keep everything together, making Daly go the long way around, but Roddy looks safe. But can Dempsey hold out to the flag? And I think he will.
Yes, Roddy gets it. Dempsey in second, very close indeed. We had Daly in third, and in fourth place, what a drive from PJ Fallon. But the champagne corks will be popping for the Dundalk man tonight. Naturally, he's over the moon. He does it on a very low budget. He can't afford to go racing every weekend, and this just proves his worth.
Well, if he can do this every time he comes out, that's all he needs to do. I honestly thought the danger man there for a while might have been PJ. He had nothing to win or to lose in the championship, but he'd like to have been on the rostrum with the other two. But there you are, you have it. Noel Roddy. Don't forget, Noel was on the second row of the grid. We had the superb start from Rory O'Cullen and really flew off into the distance, then missed a gear and moved from first to fourth in about 2 seconds flat. And this let Noel Roddy get himself up into the lead, shadowed all the way by Morgan Dempsey Jr. Then that tremendous drive by Vivian Daly from the third row of the grid, getting himself up into third place, damaging the wing on the front and then being attacked from the rear by Rory O'Cullen, but still got himself through all those wars and still sitting there. And as Alan said, championship points at stake here.
And on our unofficial reckoning, remember they do get an extra point for fastest lap, so we don't know that yet. But Vivian Daly retains the lead with 54 points. Dempsey moves up into second place with 49, and Alan McGarty probably retains his third place with 38. So Noel Roddy, look at that. The
Joey Green
exhaustion, Joey Green, and what a lovely sight to see him after his serious injury. Congratulating young Noel there, and Morgan Dempsey Jr. And that really is a big, big day for Noel Roddy. And there's the sad end of the scale. Rory O'Cullen, who led the race, looked comfortably heading for his first Opel Lotus win. A mistake with a gear change dropped him from first to fourth just in the fractions of a second, and then his desperation to get back and all those mistakes. But there is the victory. The victor, with Leslie Wright, a former champion in Formula Ford 2000 on his right, congratulating him. And now the moment that every race driver just yearns for, and when it's your first one, it's so big.
Your first one, Alan Tyndall says, and it must be so big. There can't be anything to compare with that.
Yeah, I've led so many races in Formula Ford 1600 and Formula Ford 2000, but to win this race is just unbelievable. It really is. I drove these cars last year at the TV meeting. Really, it was just sort of a once-off thing, and I've no deal at all for the Irish Championship because I've no sponsors. So I managed just to raise enough money to be able to get this event, get Joey Greenan's car, because Joey was hospitalised. And with Joey's help and an awful lot of other people, we made it. Really made it. I can't believe it.
You weren't even on the first row of the grid. You had to come through from behind and let the others make their mistakes and just battle on yourself and do it the hard way.
Yeah, I was lucky. I got a good start, and I just tucked in behind Rory. And then there was one part of the track which I could catch Rory, and he just left enough room for me, and that was his mistake, you know. But brilliant.
You're in the history books now, first man to win in this formula.
Well, I'm not the first one.
In Ireland, I mean.
No, there's been 3 rounds already.
But in terms of this meeting today, the big Leinster Trophy meeting.
Yeah, that's right, yeah. So I am.
Now, what about the other two? Noel, well done to you. And we'll have the others here. Morgan, I talked to you beforehand, and Vivian, I've talked to you many times before. But we'll give Morgan pride of place here. So near and yet so far.
Yeah, there was, the race was close all through. I was hoping that Noel and Rory would have a bit of a dice and maybe I'd benefit. I benefited somewhat, but not as much as I'd like to. At that stage, we were in a championship. There was no point in trying to take risks and risk and going off. So, second place for me is, 15 points. So it's all part of a championship. So no point in doing heroics in front of the TV cameras.
Hasn't been a bad day though. You got pole position to begin with, and then here you are.
Yeah. I wasn't happy with my own start, and I think that's where I lost it. But it's just one of those things on the day,
So now, Vivian, third place after all that, and you made it hard for yourself as well, losing bits along the way.
Well, yeah, I had a bad practice this morning. I started 5th on the grid, and this formula is just too competitive to make up all those places. So to finish third, Sam Thompson had a bit of a moment in the first corner. He lost his nose cone, and he stood on the brakes because somebody stood on the brakes in front of him, and I tipped Sam Thompson, bent the front of mine. I was lucky enough I was able to keep going and just went as hard as I could and finished third, and happy to be third after starting 5th.
You came in for a great deal of favourable comment because of the way you were keeping it together despite the problems with the front end.
Well, just trying to hang on, really. The two guys in front were driving, none of them were making mistakes, and I just couldn't afford to make a mistake either, so I just worked it as hard as I could and finished third.
Well, we know that we've got you 2FM sponsorship here. We're delighted you've made it onto the victory podium, even if it is in third place and not first. Vivian, thank you very much.
So there's Dan Patel, the president of EFTA, the European Formula Drivers Association, who is the man really who's put this worldwide Opel Lotus or Vauxhall Lotus, depending on what marketing area you're in, championship together. Not only is there a round of the Irish Championship here, as we've just seen, and how exciting that was. There's Noel Roddy receiving the Tipperary Crystal Trophy. Morgan Dempsey being congratulated in second place. And what a drive from Vivian Daly.